Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord of hosts. Zechariah 4, verse 6. Welcome to Martial Arts Past and Present with Sensei Ed Briz. Interviews and discussions with martial artists from around the world, along with tournament perspectives.
Welcome to another show of Martial Arts Past and Present. I am Sensei Ed Briz. My hope is that you will continue on this martial arts journey with me. I would like to introduce our guest. He's a ninth Dan in Tang Soo Do. I met Jose in Atlantic City at the Martial Arts Mega Weekend. He's an actor, producer, director, and a dad. From Team Torres, Martial Arts, Kwan Jang Nim, Jose Luis Torres II. Welcome.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be on your show today. For all the different viewers and fans and followers that you have, thank you so much for this opportunity. Really, really appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad to have you on. Since I met you in Atlantic City, I really want to have you on, especially with the things that we're going to be talking about today and what you've done in the past and what you're doing now. So why don't we start with this? Jose, give the audience a brief overview about yourself, where you were born and where you grew up.
Absolutely. So I'm from New Jersey. My parents are originally from Puerto Rico. My father was from Ponce and my mother was from Jalco. I was actually born in Fort Dix at the Fort Dix military base. And I've been in New Jersey ever since, to be quite honest. So nothing too dramatic. I'm a Jerseyan.
Yeah, me too. What first drew you to the martial arts, and when did you realize it would become a lifelong path for you instead of just a hobby?
Yeah. So I think, I've kind of had the cliche start that a lot of kids kind of watched martial arts on TV. I grew up at the time of when Cannon Films was real big with all the Chuck Norris movies and American Ninja, and Van Damme first came on the scene, and I was kind of running around the house, jumping off of couches and things of that nature. And my mom just thought I had so much energy, and she wanted to get me involved with martial arts. So a friend of hers was involved with a local school in Burlington Township, New Jersey, called Hamilton's Karate. He was a Tang Soo Do martial arts academy being run by Master William Hamilton, who has lineage to Jae-chul Shin, who a lot of people know, who trained Chuck Norris. And that's how I first started, because it was a friend of my mother's who got me involved with it. So I started martial arts very, very young, at 5. It's kind of clumsy, I also had some bullying that happened to me as a kid. So it stuck with me, it gave me purpose. I was excited. I was a very late bloomer with athletics and stuff. So I didn't really have any activities when I first started martial arts. And it really provided me an outlet, to kind of find myself and build some self-confidence as I kind of moved through grade school and elementary school and, things like that.
Wow, listening to you, it sounds like we shared a lot of the same things growing up.
Yeah.
We're both brought up in Jersey, both bullied.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, today, your parents put you in martial arts at a young age. My parents wouldn't let me. They were like,
Mm.
"No, you're gonna get hurt." Meanwhile, I was
Wow.
being bullied.
Right,
I'm
right,
getting
right,
hurt
right.
anyway.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And then it was a good thing we did it back then, because now today, being a little overactive and the way we were when we were kids, they'd be putting us on medicine now.
Yeah, that's true. That's
You
true.
know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, who were the most impactful mentors in your martial arts journey, and what lessons from them still guide you today?
So I always go back to my grassroots with when my first instructor was Master William Hamilton, because I was under him for 20 years. He was like a second dad to me. I wanted to have my own karate school because of him, because the karate school represented for me family, and it gave me purpose and somewhere to be. So I watched how he moved, I watched how he stood, how he kicked, and I wanted to emulate him so bad and have my own school. But it's funny though, because I feel like every instructor and every student at something, their job is to obviously make the student better, right? And you hope that the student kind of moves on. I think I wanted to move on a little bit quicker and kind of do my own thing. And, so I kind of moved in a different direction. A lot of things changed when I went to Penn State University. And originally Master Hamilton wanted me to start my own Tang Soo Do program, but they already had a Tang Soo Do program up there run by another instructor. It was actually the same rank as me. I went to one of the classes. I really didn't like it. And I ended up falling in love. They had a Taekwondo program there, which was the World Taekwondo Federation, WTF, Hogu style, Olympic style fighting. So I ended up getting involved with that, which then I kind of moved away a little bit from the Tang Soo Do practice and got more involved with the Taekwondo sparring, Taekwondo Pumse forms and things. So the second most influential person was actually my college coach, which was Master Sam Char. Now, Sam Char was on the 1988 Lebanese Olympic team. 88 is when they did the demonstrator sport in Korea, and he was part of the Lebanese team. So I fell in love with Taekwondo. It was a different passion. It was something totally different. Yes, some of the techniques were the same, but the kicking was totally different than what we did in Tang Soo Do, and the forms were different. So that was kind of like the second phase of my martial arts journey, as far as with a different mentor and instructor. And then as I got older, I kind of broke away and I got involved with the Hwarang Tang Soo Do Association out of LA. And I met an amazing Grandmaster Hosik Pak. And I started training with him, and I would go out to LA and fly him into New Jersey. And I was involved with him. So those were pretty much the primary three guys that I was very, very blessed to train with and train under for a very, very long time. Now I'm a member of the World General Federation based out of Korea. And they have different Korean masters that are head of it. And I've been to Korea 3, 4 times, but as far as training consistently, those first three are kind of the main guys.
Jose, you just mentioned that you had the same instructor that Chuck Norris had in Tang Soo Do. Tell us a little bit about him or that whole story.
Well, Master William Hamilton trained under Jae-chul Shin. Jae-chul Shin was trained Chuck Norris, and it's crazy because I actually didn't get it. I didn't meet Chuck Norris at that time. I actually ended up meeting Chuck Norris. It was about, I want to say, almost 6 years ago, and it's crazy story how it happened. So. I have my own association. I have it's called the North American Federation of Martial Arts, and I have my own Tang Soo Do association called Tang Soo Do International. And one of my students is a great master named Ramel Gargolis, and Ramel is based out of Texas. He used to be a Jersey guy like us, you and me, and then he moved out to Texas. The reason why he moved out to Texas is because he worked for Kickstart, which is Chuck Norris's
Hmm.
program.
Right.
And Ramel became a very lead top instructor for his program, and they were doing Chuck Norris's non-for-profit does a Boots Gala. It's like one of their largest fundraisers. So Ramel called me and said, "Hey, sir, I have some tickets. I have an opportunity. Kwan Jang Nim, Chuck Norris is going to be there, sir. I think it would be a great opportunity for you to meet him." And I'm like, "Oh my God, of course." So I flew out to Texas. I stayed with Ramel for about a week. I went to the Boots Gala, and I had an amazing experience getting to meet Grandmaster Norris and his wife Gina. They're wonderful, wonderful people. Got to talk to them for a little bit, and it was a busy weekend for them because this is a very, very big fundraising weekend for them. So I didn't get to do any training with them, but I did get to meet them. Took some cool pictures with them, and it was kind of kind of putting a dream and another like cap, like checklist. Like, oh, I got to meet one of the stars. It's funny. I'll share the story with you. My grandfather, God rest his soul, he's not around anymore. He passed away a couple years ago. From Puerto Rico, moved from Puerto Rico, became a correctional officer, owned a bodega, all these things. Loved Chuck Norris. Like that was like his guy. And when VHSs were around, he would always bring these VHSs home. And he would call my mom and say, "I know Jose's doing karate, but I have this new missing in action." Now, mind you, I'm like 7 years old. I got no business watching missing in action, but like, my grandfather thought it was the coolest thing ever. So that's one of the memories I have of my grandfather. My grandfather loved all those Cannon films. And Chuck was the poster boy for Cannon at that time, with all his movies and stuff. But
Right.
yeah, that's kind of like my full circle moment. But yes, I did get to meet Chuck and Grandmaster Norris and took a picture with him, and it's a great historic moment for me.
So
Yeah.
how did earning your title of Grandmaster change your perspective on leadership, teaching, and personal responsibility?
It's funny because I know when we talked about that question, I have been asked that before, and I feel of the years, right, that I've developed what that means to me. So the crazy thing is my and I would say maybe it's because I'm older now and my feeling to it, a lot of time martial artists, I think we pursue, that next level, right? That next rank, and we want to get higher, and we all want to
Right.
get accolades. We all want to do things, but then these titles, master, grandmaster, these are titles that mean so much to different people for different reasons. Okay. And I
Hmm.
think that sometimes, and we all talk within the martial arts industry, there's people that quickly get those titles, there's people that never get those titles that deserve it, So it's what we make those titles, right? Because that's kind of my position now in 2026, You would ask me this 10 years ago, I might have said something different. But, how has it changed me? I feel I have more of a responsibility to continually stay on top of myself in regards to not just my training, but my conduct, how I conduct myself, how people view me in the communities, how I make my impact and understand what my impact in the community is to my students and outside of my dojang. That's what it makes me feel. I'm still the same kid that started at 5, that's still excited to come to karate, that gets excited to see. And that's what I think is the most important because I feel like sometimes when we get accolades like that or become champions of things, sometimes we tend to forget where we came from. And I think everybody can relate to that, right? We
Oh,
get so
absolutely.
high and we forget, and the things that made us great before, we forget about that. And then we don't have that passion and that drive because you're the king on the mountain, and
Hmm.
and there's sometimes they say, the king on the top or the lion on the top of the hill is not as hungry as the lion climbing up, right? And then other people will say, yeah, but the food is there if they want it. You know what I mean? Sometimes people
Right.
say that. But that's how I feel. Do I think it made me a better person? No. Do I think it put a bullseye on me? Probably, right? It's funny with the Grandmaster title. So I was very fortunate to test. So in Korean martial arts over the last 25 to 30 years, they've kind of identified Grandmaster at the level of seventh Dan, depending on the association that you're in. Now, obviously, I'm ninth
Really?
Dan, so I'm three ahead of that. And when I went to Korea in 2011, it's actually when I tested for it. And I tested with my good friend who's actually deceased now, master by the name of Eric Kovalevsky from Pennsylvania. We both went to Korea together. We were part of this like pilgrimage of different masters from around the globe that went to this experience in Korea with the General Federation. And they picked 8 of us to test. It was myself, Eric, and a couple other guys, and they wanted us to test for the next rank. And at the time, I was like, oh, I'm too young. I can't do this. I can't do that. And my roommate at the time was a wonderful gentleman called Des Galligan. He was a little bit older than me from Ireland. And he was like, sir, when the Korean grandmasters tell you you're testing, you are testing. Don't tell them that you're not going to test. And that was my ego, right? Because that was me, because I was like, I almost had imposter complex that I was like, no, I'm not good enough, or no, I'm not at this level, which
Hmm.
I was. Absolutely, I was. You know what I mean? And I say that now with confidence because I know the work that I've done since 2011 and before 2011. So I was very, resistant. I didn't tell anybody that I tested for probably 4 years. I didn't tell anything. I didn't publicly say it. I didn't say anything. And then we went back in what was it, maybe 2017, and one of the other grandmasters was getting old and sick. They wanted me to retest. So that was only 6 years later instead of the 8 years. And I had an opportunity. And again, that's kind of rose through the ranks towards the end. But again, it was an opportunity, I think, to have a bigger platform to reach more people. That's what I think it is. I think now that's my feeling of what it is. It's not some crazy title that means I'm better than anybody else. It's not a title that means like, that I deserve more than other. I think it's a title that comes with respect, humility, and also an opportunity to change and to keep progressing the martial arts and the humility and honor and be a good role model for other people. That's what I think it means. Because again, I'm still that same guy, maybe just some more gray hair and you're losing hair at the top. But again, I love martial arts. Martial arts has changed my life. It's been the greatest thing that's happened to me. I mean, really, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, how many years have you been in it now? You said you were 5 when you started. How many years you've been
So
in it?
I'm turning 49 this year. I'm turning 49 this year. So
Oh,
I've been
you're a youngin.
I'm a youngin, but I have been consistent since 44 years. 44 years, which a lot of people can't say. I mean, I'm almost coming up. It's the only thing I've ever known. It is the longest activity I have ever done in my life. Now, I'm a soccer player. I played basketball in high school. I wrestled, but soccer, I still coach. I coach at the college level now. But martial arts has been my life for everything. There's instructors now that I knew were kids, before, not necessarily in my school, or the old timers that were my senior, are passed away now and have moved on and transitioned. I'm kind of like that middle of the road guy now, but I've been doing it for so long. I think that's why a lot of people think I'm older than I am, because I have. I've been in the scene for a long time.
So you started in 1982.
Yeah, yeah,
That's when I started.
yeah. 5 years
Yeah,
old. I was
that's
a
when I
baby,
started.
and that
Yeah,
was in the time that they didn't let you start because they didn't want me in the class. They didn't want 5-year-olds in the class at that time. And I was like one,
right.
me and two other kids. No, you weren't allowed to do it then. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, they kicked our butts, man. And that was the time you still were hit. You were hit with the bamboo sword. I mean, it was a different time then. I can't do that now. They locked me up. That's
No.
over for us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's a
The things
different
they did to
time.
us, the
Yeah,
things they did to us.
but
If we
I
tried
tell
any of that stuff now, forget it.
Ed, I tell you though, that shaped me into the human being that I am.
Right.
And I know, that corporal punishment, people disagree, whatever. I can tell my experience and how it affected me, and that kept me on the straight and narrow. That gave me the respect and humility in the martial arts because yes, you could kick fast, you could hurt people, but there was always somebody bigger than you. There was always somebody the master, right? And I feel that's so valuable because like kids now, they don't have that. Everything they have information at their fingertips. It's not like us, when we were growing up, it's just different. And that humility and that respect is, not everybody's the same. One of the biggest things I take pride in, Ed, is me as a two-part, as an instructor and as a father, right?
Mhm.
Because my work is dictated and shown through my students and my sons. That's the best example I can give. You know what I mean? You see me as a man, and who I am in my heart is because of how my students are and because of how my three boys are. That's my
Mhm.
biggest pride. That's how you judge me from what I've done. Not the titles, not that I flew to
Right.
countries, not any of this other stuff. It's that. That's what means the most to me. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Right. And it is. It really is. I'll tell you because I've seen this. I wasn't going to bring this up, but I have to bring this up because it's been really bothering me. There are people that get the titles. Okay, they earned them. They
Absolutely.
they they get the titles, and then it becomes all about them. Okay, I'm not going to mention who it was because I erased the video. I was invited to go record the seminar for the podcast,
Hmm.
and I was in South Carolina, here in South Carolina, where I am now,
Okay.
and it was in West Columbia, and I got up, I went over to do this because I was invited to do this. I go over there, and the person that was doing the seminar and running the school. He's a pretty big name, but I'm not going to say his name because, like I said, I erased the video, and right now it would just be hearsay. So I wouldn't, unless I could back it up, I wouldn't mention a name.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, he gave me such a hassle, and I wanted him to introduce the people who were going to do the seminars for that day. Himself and whoever else were going to do the seminars for that day. And he said, after I started recording, he goes, I already did that. I'm not gonna do that now. If you want to record, just go in the background somewhere and record.
Hmm.
Like that's not the way the podcast works.
Yeah, yeah,
He made it all about him, not about martial arts, which is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to make it about martial arts because
right.
if we're not passing it on and in the sense of be caring for the lower ranks and things like that, but he looked at me like I was beneath him. And it just bothered me so much. And I've
Yeah.
been wanting to get that out. It's been over a week now. It was,
Oh, I'm so, you know what? And I'm sorry you have to deal with that. So I will share with you as a younger guy at the time, right? Because now I'm kind of like in the mix now, right? So there's people that know me, people that don't know me, but I'm doing a lot of things, and God has blessed me, put me in a really good place, right? When I was the young master coming up and the young instructor, I dealt with politics. I dealt with people that looked down on me. I've had people tell me,
mm,
trying to start a business in the suburbs as a Latino guy. They said I wouldn't make it. I'm gonna be honest with
mhm,
you. And I'm not talking about 1950. I'm talking about 2000s. 20, you know what I mean? 26 years
yeah,
ago, I was still dealing with that. And I'm not using this podcast as a platform, but I'm sharing with you that that elitism that still happens in everything. And
Yeah.
you look at the people that are doing it, right? And look at the big, this is what I try to do now. And maybe I have an old soul, maybe whatever, but I try not to get emotional about it. And I try to look at the big picture, Ed. What are they going through? What's their family like? Are they
Right.
proud of where they are? Is
Right.
their business where it should be? Because there's a lot of guys that think they should be bigger. There's so many people, men and women, but specifically men in martial arts, that think they're a specific level, whether it's amount of students, the school, the success, money, right? That everybody should know who
Hmm.
they are.
Right.
And because they don't reach that, right? That's sometimes why they're so, not evil, but just not a nice person. They're
Hmm.
they're they're mad at themselves because they didn't reach where they want. And sometimes all it took was being nice to the right person, talking to
Hmm.
them, and treating everybody like a human being. And that's what I think is missing. But again, that's not just a martial arts problem. That's a societal problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's and it migrates over into what we do, into our industry.
Right. And that's one of the big reasons I started this podcast, because of things like this.
Right.
And then I started meeting people like you and Superfolk Bill Wallace and
Yeah.
Cynthia and all these other big names, Don Dragon Wilson, all these big names.
Yeah.
Okay. And I got just the opposite. Nice people.
Yeah.
People who want to tell about themselves, so the other people can learn from it, not just
Right.
here I
Right.
am, learn from me and respect me. And you guys aren't like that.
Right.
If anybody, nobody has that right, but if anybody would have that right, it would be people like you, people who are in
Oh,
TV and movies and stuff like that,
yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
have accomplished a lot of things like yourselves. Um,
Thank you, Ed.
but this guy, uh,
Sorry to hear
and that,
that.
again,
But you know
that's why I
what?
started this.
You move on from that, and that just opens your eyes, unfortunately, right? And you learn. What I also feel, and I say this with you, is every person we meet for a purpose and for a reason. To
Yeah.
experience the negative, so we know, we recognize what that is and say, okay, I don't like that. Let me move this way. And then you start to see those precursors, right? You see those ticks the next time you meet a guy. So you'll know before you even do your podcast, you're gonna get that spidey sense, and you're gonna be like, you know what? This is like this other guy. I'm not doing it no more. I've had I did my own podcast. I haven't done it now for about a year. Same issue. I would have guys that would like commit to me and then either would be late, not show up, or would commit to doing. We used to do these videos beforehand, like promo videos. And I
Hmm.
had like three people that are like, "Oh no, I'm not doing that." I'm like, "Wait a second. You already told me you were doing this. Why are you not doing
Right.
it?" And again, you just treat people. I just feel like you treat people how you want to be treated. That's what it's about. That's the
Right.
most thing I've learned, from martial arts and just everything. Just treat people like you want, right? You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And that's what it should be.
right? It
Treat
should
people
be.
the way you want to be treated.
Yep.
And both of us coming from Jersey, my first reaction, which I'm glad I didn't act on, was to go Jersey on them. You know what
That's
that means. When people
yeah,
not
yeah,
from
yeah,
Jersey
yeah,
doesn't know what that don't know
yeah,
what that means.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, that was my first reaction. But instead, I packed up my stuff. I left. I sat in my car before I left, and I just,
Yeah.
I don't know what you believe or anything like. I prayed for a little
Absolutely.
bit,
Yep.
and I said, this is who he is, and if anybody's going to change him, it's going to be God that's going to change him. It's not going to be me.
Right. Right.
So, and then that was it.
Move on.
But I was so angry about it. And okay, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to stop now.
No problem.
Okay, to the audience, if you find this information interesting and helpful, hit like at the bottom of your screen. All right, back to you, Jose. In a world full of distractions, how can martial arts help people find focus, confidence, and emotional balance?
I find I can relate to myself and then what I project to my students. And I feel it's the training and it's the involvement and the self-discipline, going to class, making the effort to go, whether it's a fitness journey, people going to the gym, it's the same thing for for martial arts. You got to make the commitment. You have to go to class. You have to show up every day. Because again, you're feeding your body. Mentally is the same because a strong body, strong mind. I also think the family. So the family portion of martial arts is what I think has kind of changed over the last 50 years. There was, you didn't have maybe those great relationships when martial arts was very paramilitary, right? 50s, 60s, train hard, do all these things. Where I think it's shifted, right? And some people say now it's softer and whatever. And I think society in general is softer now. But I feel that discipline within yourself, and then you project that to your students, right? That's going to help them empower them because every person that comes into a martial arts school has a purpose to be there. They either want to train self-defense, they've been abused. If it's a woman, something bad happened to her. If it's a kid, they're trying to get self-confidence. Everybody has a purpose, right? So it's the
Hmm.
job of fulfilling that purpose and helping them get through what they're trying to get through, and then allowing them to embrace what martial arts is so that they continue the journey, right? Because it's not just like, hey, we fixed the problem, move on. No, keep this, with you. Because I'll be honest with you, without martial arts, I would have never been able to get past, some of the big hurdles in my life.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right.
You
Here's something. I'm glad we're doing this via Zoom, so I don't get hit in the head. Like if I was to bring something like this up to Bill Wallace, he'd probably kick me in the head.
Right, right,
But
right, right.
all right, do you prefer to be called Jose or Danny Zuko?
Oh,
I understand you've been acting since you were in high school. Is that
yeah.
correct?
That is, you did your research. You did your research, Ed. You did your research. Yes, yes, yes. Funny story. So I in high school I did everything. I played soccer, I wrestled, I did track, and I was part of the music program. I loved. I was a percussionist. I played in the marching band. I tried to do everything. I kept myself busy at all times. And there was a play that was happening my sophomore year, and I was good friends with the music director, and he said, "Jose, I really need this guy. Can you play this?" Da da da. Da. And it wasn't Greece. It was actually, and I don't formally put this out there, so I think you're the first person I'm telling. My face is turning red because I remember this. I don't think I told anybody about this. This is like in the hidden gems, but they did a chorus line, and
Chorus line with Danny
yes,
Zuko?
no, no. So the first play I ever did was sophomore year, which was a play called Chorus Line. And that was
Okay.
a big cast, and they did the dancing and the kicking and all this. And I played a character, Sydney Beckenstein. Yeah, yeah, that was my name, Sydney Beckenstein. And I had to wear these tights with a sleeveless thing. Listen, not one of my better moments, but I did it, right? But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So the next year, the theater program reached back out to me, and my teacher's name was Dave May. Remember him, great guy. And he goes, Jose. So this is the second play I was in. He goes, hey Jose, we're doing Bye Bye Birdie, which was a classic Dick Van Dyke. I don't know
Hmm.
if you remember it.
Hmm.
So he says, I need someone with energy. I need you to play Conrad Birdie. So I said, oh my God, I'll play Conrad Birdie all day. So they gave me like a yellow jumpsuit thing. I had a blast. All the girls were screaming the entire play. Like it was the highlight of my life. So great, great performance. And I had a lot of people like, commenting. They said, Jose, you should stick with this. Da, 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 da. So then the third play was Greece. And I went to a very diverse high school. And I say this to you because there's a lot of things surrounding this. So obviously everybody knows John Travolta played Danny Zuko, but in my high school, Burlington City High School, they wanted a Puerto Rican guy to play Danny Zuko. So I played Danny Zuko, and I had this beautiful African American girl, Shelly Murray, great friend of mine. She played Sandy. So we had this like multiracial lead of this play, and we had a blast. We had an absolute blast. I loved it. There was even consideration I was going to try to pursue acting in college, but I never did. I never did. I thought I was going to be an athlete and tried to pursue like a wrestling scholarship, soccer scholarship. But when it was all said and done, I went to Penn State University on an academic scholarship, full ride, and I pursued a bachelor's of science in kinesiology.
Yeah, I saw that too. Kinesiology. I know very little about it, but I hear it's fantastic.
Study of human movement. Some people say sports medicine, but study of human movement. I took the movement science option. Originally, I was going to go to chiropractic school, but things changed and I didn't end up doing that. And I opened up a karate school. That's what I ended up doing. Yeah, chiropractor or this. That was a different time, though. I fell in love with my childhood sweetheart. Colleen Coyle, her name's now Torres. We actually celebrate 25 years. We've been married this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And times changed. I was a senior, she was a junior, and we had been dating. We dated a little bit in high school, kind of broke up in college, and then started dating again in college. And it's funny because when I first met her, I knew I was in love with her, and I said, "This is going to be my wife," But I was so cautious because I didn't want to like settle down and like hurt her. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
like I kind of was like playing the long game with her, and we ended up getting back together in college, and she became pregnant. Because we were seeing, I wasn't staying at college. I was going to see her every weekend. She went to Rosemont College in Philadelphia. So summer going into like my final year. I had a semester left. Now I remember because I took the movement science option. So I was going to do a semester and then go chiropractic school. And we found out she was pregnant. So I said, "Oh, we got to change plans now." You know what I mean? So I ended up getting a job. I became like a manager at a fitness center, and then I opened up my business. And I've never looked back. That's actually my story. But yeah, it's same girl. And well, 3 boys later, my son is 26 years old. And my his name's Ryan. My middle son is AJ. He graduates this year from Ursinus College. Great college athlete, played soccer there. And now my youngest is an eighth grader who's going to high school next year. His name's Mason. So, again, family. I'm all about family, all about family.
That's great. That's great. With all you're doing and all you've accomplished already, that's great that you have so much, you make the time to spend with your family. I
You
think that's
have
a
to.
wonderful thing.
And you have to. And I tell you, my family work ethic I learned, and I share this is because my so I my father, and some people know this, some people don't. But my birth father, my mother left. He was in the military, and I never met him or anything like that. And then my mother remarried, and Jose Torres adopted me when I was like very young, like 4 or 5. He's the only man I've ever known. But I share that with you is because his work ethic and his love for me as an older Puerto Rican generation at that time, he was work, work, work. Man worked 3 jobs so that he could provide everything for us. And that's what he believed. And I learned that work ethic. But he came to as much as he could, but that was a different culture. There wasn't a lot of like, "I'm proud of you, son," or all these other things. He would tell everybody else, but he wouldn't say that to me. You know what I mean? Because he wanted me to
Mm.
keep working. So the things that I learned from him, that work ethic, I took that with my own family. However, I made sure that my biggest fear, I'm trying not to get emotional because I swear, I don't know if like as I'm getting close to 50 now, I feel like, the world is changing. My biggest fear is that I never ever want my boys to second guess if their father loves them, right?
Mm.
And I share this with you. I have trained over 2,000, 3,000 kids in my karate school over 25 years. I have met the best of the best, the worst of the worst. And I mean, worst of the worst kids that couldn't afford food, socks, whatever. We let them train for free. Their fathers abused them, terrible things, right? And the same thing with every kid that comes in my karate school. All they want is to be loved and appreciated. That's all they want. That's all any child wants. That's all we ever wanted, right? And our mothers and fathers, they dealt and it's hard. There's no playbook to be a parent. I understand that, whatever, whatever. But I wanted to make sure that my boys knew, when my time is done, whether that's today, tomorrow, I'm trying to kick to 100. We'll see what happens. But um, that they knew that, hey, my dad loved me. He showed up for me. He did the best that he could. And I think that's the biggest thing because you never want a young man or a boy to ever think, does my dad love you? Does anything happen? You know what I mean? And I see everything. Like again, I just see so much of my school and society. Like I coach and I do these other things, and I just want to make sure that my boys have. So, am I their biggest fan? Absolutely. That's what we're supposed to do. Am I going to discipline them? Absolutely. Like my house was much different. I was very old school with these guys. You know what I mean? They tell me I'm soft now. It's funny. My boys tell me I'm soft now. They're like, "Who's this guy?" But I love them. I am the father that I will go to battle and I will call my 3 boys first. You know what I mean? Those are my guys. Those are my
Yeah,
guys that
that's good.
I love them to death. And my older son is a master now in the school. He's going to have his own journey. He's doing his own thing. My middle son was our fighter. I used to take him to every tournament known to man, and he would fight whoever. And then my youngest guy, he did get his black belt. He's not in the school as much as, of course, dad would love him too, but he's an accomplished athlete. Like this kid's playing high level soccer, basketball. He's getting a scholarship to go to a prep school. Like he's this But again, I try to go to every game. I support them. And then I'm crazy enough, Ed, where I coach. So I coach all their stuff too. So I literally miss karate, and I'm blessed to have good instructors where this past weekend, we played a travel championship basketball game, eighth grade South Jersey basketball championship for my youngest, and I'm the head coach. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the karate guy's the head coach too. Yeah, I don't play no games, and I win there too. I win there because we won this weekend. So I try to give my boys everything I can. I know I'm not perfect, but I try the best that I can.
Yeah, well, sounds like you're doing a lot. So, to the audience, if you like the content, hit subscribe. All right, Jose, here we go. We're gonna get into some more good stuff. We've covered a lot of great stuff already. We're gonna get into some more good stuff now. Jose, you act, you direct,
Yes,
you produce.
yes.
What project or accomplishments are you most proud of right now, and why does it matter to you?
So, I had a vision, and I'm gonna kind of backtrack because I wanted to mention it before and I didn't.
Mhm.
So over COVID, I started my own podcast show. And I started connecting with a lot of the other martial arts actors. And I became really good friends with the gentleman, William Christopher Ford. He was in Karate Kid 3. He was also
Okay.
in Cobra Kai. Great man, great instructor. He's real. He teaches martial arts and he's an actor. And we became good friends. And he would say, "Hey, Jose, man, I love your screen presence. You should act." And I said, "Oh my God, I always wanted to act, but I never had the opportunity." So he hooked me up with his friend, Jim Towns, who's an LA director. And Jim was writing a story and a movie. And he was looking for a retired assassin. So I met with him. I flew out to LA and I met with him. It was an independent film. And that's when I got my first kind of movie role. I sold him that I could be his Puerto Rican version of Taken with Liam Neeson. I was going to be the Puerto Rican Liam Neeson, an older guy that could move. And
Right.
Jim started laughing. He was like, "All right, Jose, I'm buying this." He goes, "Let's see if we can make this happen." So we did a film called Killer X, and I acted and starred in it, as well as I was executive producer for it. So I got my hands in because I wanted to sell this story. If I was a retired assassin, I was a family guy who was a soccer coach and a karate instructor that got drugged back by his ex-girlfriend. It's always the exes that mess you up. It's always
Yeah, right.
right. So, but it's crazy. We did the premiere, and people can go online. If you could share this, we did the premiere. We sold 514 tickets to an independent film screening at the Burlington Regal, a Regal Cinema is a chain in Burlington, New Jersey. That's when I first really got the bug. Like I was like, oh my God, people supported, people came out. Then we were able to get it distributed. So it's on Apple TV, Prime, Folsom, Tubi right now. That gave me the itch. So then I
Okay.
started writing stories, and these are ideas that I had as a kid. I just never really did anything because I didn't have the connections or anything at that time. So the most thing I became proud of is I said, you know what? I'm going to write, I'm going to star, and I'm going to direct my own project, which is crazy, right? Crazy. So I came up with this story of called City of Honor, and it's a TV series. Which is what we're working on right now, and it tells the story of a Hispanic Puerto Rican detective sergeant, Dante Perez, who is a leader of the West End Make Believe Task Force, and he's a single father dealing with alcoholism and the death of his wife and son. So we layered this guy up. This poor guy, he's going through everything. But I wanted to make my mark and be the voice for other Latinos because in the movie industry, everybody and your viewers, I mean, you even know this as well, is a lot of Latino men are always portrayed as the gangster, the cartel leader, the rapist, the criminal. You don't have a lot of Hispanic superstars. In the 80s,
Mhm.
maybe you remember Lorenzo Lamas, or early
Right.
90s, you had Antonio Banderas. But Lorenzo was a real martial artist. Antonio was not. There were some other good actors, but as far as like an action guy, I don't feel we had one. So my intention was I wanted to do this crime drama to show that a Hispanic man lead could be the hero, and that's what I wanted to show in this. And he's multi-layered. He's got all these issues and drama like we all do. But I built this West End task force, so it's going to be a 5-part series. The first pilot We did a screening again in the Regal because I have a great partnership with them. So they allowed me to show it in 5 different movie theaters. And then we got it picked up for distribution, the pilot only. And
Hmm.
we got that on Apple TV, Prime, Tubi, Fawsome. So any of those platforms, you can search City of Honor and you'll see it. And we just completed episode 2. And on March 28th, we're doing the episode 2 screening at the Regal again. So this has been a labor of love for me. I'm really, really excited. I tried to make the fighting, so I'm choreographing the fighting, and trying to make it as realistic as possible. It's not like Hong Kong Fooey, Chinese Super Ninja type stuff. It's a little more tactful stuff, but a way that I can kind of showcase how I move. But yeah, this has been a great project, and really diverse cast. Some leads that I have Felix Cortez, another fellow Puerto Rican from he was in Cobra Kai. Felix is part of the show. Amber Marchese, who was a Real Housewife of New Jersey, she plays the mayor. And then we have one of the other co-leads with me is a gentleman by the name of Marcus Taylor. Marcus Taylor is a real martial artist. He goes to the Action Festival. He was there. I don't know if you saw him. He didn't have his own table, but he was definitely there. And he played Suge Knight in the critically acclaimed Straight Outta Compton movie. He was the actor that played Suge Knight, and he plays Detective Marcus McCoy in my show. So again, very diverse. Hispanic, African American, Italian, blondes, brunettes. Everybody's in there. Everybody's in there.
You got a whole mix in there. That's great.
Yeah.
I actually saw it. I went and I looked at the pilot,
Oh, thank you.
and I liked it. I liked it a lot. I
Oh,
think it'll do well.
thank you, Ed. We've gotten positive response. I think you're going to be impressed by episode 2. Just from episode 2, production value alone. I mean, we got farms, police station. I mean, we have a lot of stuff that's really come again by God's blessing and networking. Just the production value alone is going to look big, big, big budget because of what this episode is bringing to the table. A lot of action. We have a group fight scene that's going to happen in this warehouse, not to give too much away, but we're going to start to see these layers of the character. But yeah, I mean, and then we start filming episode 3. So it's kind of a dream journey, Ed. It really has. And, it
That,
really, really is.
that's great. That's
Yeah.
great because I like the show. I mean, I'd love to see it continue.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
Yeah. There is something that you put up when we were in Atlantic City. I did a short interview with you, if you recall, which is out there, by the way, for everybody to go look at. You had brought up that in this show, you're using an actual police department.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about that.
So one of our good friends, one of my good friends, martial arts brothers, John Ostino, was able to connect me with the Vineland City Police Department, Vineland, and we had a meeting with their chief. Wonderful, wonderful human being. Just so open to everything we were doing. And then he set the meeting up with their mayor, Mr. Anthony Fanucci, and I met with the city. I met with everybody, told him about this independent project, my crazy idea, and they wanted to support. They literally supported, signed off, and they've just been blessed giving us access to the police station, ambulances, police cars. I mean, real police officers are part of the show. Just giving it. We wanted to do something special that hasn't been done before. And I know, Blue Bloods and SVU, there's great shows out there. I
Hmm.
can say that we are the only show that has a Puerto Rican guy at the head of it. That I do know. That I do know. So but again, having access to some of these other assets like the police station and the cars and a SWAT team and all these things, I mean, really just brings the level of the production up, which I really think is going to hopefully separate us from everybody else, put enough eyes on us. Because we're still looking, Ed, we didn't make it yet. It's not like Netflix is knocking on my door. Not yet. I say not yet. I'm hoping.
Hmm.
I'm hoping we make enough noise. Hopefully, with your show and people supporting, they'll watch it. But that's our next step. Hopefully, try to make enough noise with this show and get it to a larger platform.
Well, we're going to be pushing this interview that we're doing right now. We're going to be pushing this for you
Thank you so
to
much.
get it out there, so this way people see it, and we'll put it under where it shows City of Honor and so on and so forth to push it. Now, is this being recorded in Jersey?
Yeah, yeah. The show is in New Jersey. It's being filmed in Vineland, New Jersey, Burlington Township, New Jersey. Florence and Robley, New Jersey. So three different cities. It's been
Wow.
filmed out at this point. Yeah. So we could kind of go like from me, I'm near Burlington. To go to Violent, it's about an hour. So it's a little bit of a drive for everybody, but we have a great crew. I do have to give a shout out to the amazing, amazing production company. There's also producers with me, Darren Davidson, Bill Wurst. They own Bold Media. Without Bold Media, City of Honor does not happen. The visual of it, like just the cinematography, they're amazing. They're amazing, top notch. Newer company that's out there. I mean, they've been out for a while, but this is the first time I'm getting to work with them. And just their cinematography, their professionalism, they're top notch. And I think they're going to get a lot of work too because of what we've produced together. They're really great people.
Right. Right. I want to, hopefully, if we have time, we'll get more into it.
Yeah.
But we're going to move on for now.
Okay.
You've touched on this before in our conversation so far. What was one of the toughest obstacles you faced, physically, mentally, and or spiritually, and how did martial arts help you overcome it?
I've been asked this question before. I do some presentations with stuff, and as I told you, sometimes as you get older, you kind of change your thoughts. But I will tell you, toughest spiritually, mentally, and physically was actually the loss of my mother and father. That hurt me in my 30s. Very depressed. Gained a lot of weight. I had all these medical issues, and I just wasn't me. I wasn't Jose, and I was just kind of like trudging in mud for years upon years. And it was the martial arts and teaching the kids and coming to class every day and being disciplined that said, "Hey, I gotta make it today because there's other people counting on me." You know what I mean? It wasn't just my family; it was the kids, and that was hard. That's a lot of weight to pressure because I was trying to get over the loss of my mother. And then I lost my father, a couple years later. I never recovered from my mother. Never, never, never. I don't know if
Mm,
you ever do. I think you like learn to live with it as you go on. And my mother passed away in the middle of a night from a heart attack. We didn't even know she was sick. She was very young, 54. I was
oh,
still in my
wow.
30s. And police came to my house because I'm known in the community. So they came right to my house and told me, and they said, "Hey, your mom passed away, your dad's a mess, blah, 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 blah." So I immediately switched into caregiver mode and I didn't mourn and I pushed my feelings for my mom down because I had to be there for my father.
Hmm.
And that broke me. That hurt me. That gave me so many problems later on. And I share this with you and anybody that's listening because we never
Hmm.
know how we're going to react to loss and pain and tragedy. And, when I got to my house, I was there for my father. I didn't like mourn my mom. I didn't really, you know what I mean? I remember, going and she was there and I tried to hug her and I kissed her and that was the end of it. She had already been gone. But I
Mm.
didn't process it and I kept dealing with that. And the only thing that saved me from like I really feel losing myself was the karate school and coming to karate and training and locking in with the kids, no matter how depressed I was. And then when I lost my father, was rough too. I mean, Ed, I'll be honest with you, I ballooned up. I can show you pictures. Ed, I blew up over 300 pounds. I was 325 pounds. Yeah. I carried it pretty
Really?
good. Most people probably thought I was like 280 or whatever, but I could still move. I was still kicking. But yeah, I mean, my face was huge. I'll send you. I did my first cover right after my mother passed. First magazine cover, which was Taekwondo Times. And that was still on the newsstands at that time. My face was like a bowling ball. Like it was literally huge. I was huge. I was huge. I wore a size 7, 8 uniform, I think I was in at that time. And I was again just going through the moves, going through the stuff. I was struggling. I was maintaining to move every day, but I was just maintaining, right? I wasn't growing. I wasn't nurturing myself. I wasn't healing. And then I got a reset right after my father, again with martial arts and some of the kids and trying to help them, and even with my own boys. And I got sick. I had some kidney issues, gallbladder, all kind of stuff. So I changed my diet, and then I started losing weight. Then I started dropping more weight and more weight and more weight. I think in total I lost almost like 90 pounds,
Mm.
and went from a 4 or 5X to I can float between an XL and a large now. You know what I mean? And I feel good. And I'm still kind of on my way down, you know? Before
Hmm.
we had this, I went to the gym and then I'll go back and do my second session because I got to stick around. Ed, you know what I mean? Like I've realized
Yeah.
now I have a higher purpose. I have to be here. I have to keep moving and keep pushing and doing these things that God is presenting me with because I don't think anything is by chance. I don't think anything in this world, bad and good, is by chance. It's because you're supposed to learn, grow, identify, and then move in that direction. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I really, really feel, that that's what it is. But yeah, martial arts helped me get over the death of my mother and father. 1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah. God has a journey for all of us. It's whether we allow him to proceed with it or not, or if
Yeah.
we want to get in our own way
Yep.
or his way. And if we want to get in his way and try and do it on our own, then, it just delays the what he has in plan for us. And
Yep.
what he has in plan for us is always the best thing for us.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's
Absolutely.
so funny because, oh, wow, as you're saying that, my mom died at 54 years old.
Oh, wow.
It was from cancer. It wasn't from a heart attack, but she died at 54, and that was tough on me. I lost my dad. It wasn't, yeah, it was bad. I lost my dad, but my mom, it hit me a lot harder.
Always does. Mom.
Yeah,
Moms,
yeah.
especially like they just, and we're blessed. Like I know not everybody's blessed to have a great mom, right? I understand that. But, because you hear horror stories from other people, but man, moms are moms, man. They're so, God places them on this earth to raise kids and nurture them. And it's funny, mothers serve a specific nurturing and that emotional development for a young man, right? That's a
Hmm.
boy's first love. He loves his mother. It's the first female he loves. Think about it. That's the first female we love
Hmm.
is our
Hmm.
mother. And we're right, our girlfriends and everybody, we try to compare them or we want them a little bit like mom, and nurturing us and doing those things. And it's hard when we lose them, it's very, very hard. And then on the flip side of losing your father is crazy. And I had somebody tell us, I'm not taking credit for this. I've heard this before, but I believe in it more now than ever. Your father is literally the only man in your life that will ever want you better than he was. Your friends are happy for you, but they don't
Mm.
necessarily want you to be better than them, right? They're happy for your success. They're this, but they're not like, oh man, I hope that. But your father, you hope, right? And if you have a good relationship, your father is the only man that says, I'm raising you to be better than me. So you don't
Right,
struggle the same way I do. So then when
right.
you lose him, you're like, oh God, and that's that struggle, And again, I don't know if I'd be the same guy talking to you now if I didn't lose them when I was younger, So mom, I was in my 30s and my father passed away in 2017. So almost, coming up in one more year, another 10 years, and it was
Hmm.
hard. It was hard, both of them, For me, it was. For me, it was very hard.
Yeah. When you have a closer relationship with them, it is difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is difficult.
Yeah.
All right, to the audience, before we get too emotional on this, to the audience,
Can't
I'd
have
like
me
to
on.
take
Can't have me on, Ed. We need tissue. They need tissue.
yeah, right. I gotta get a box right here. I'd like to take a moment and thank you all for watching. I truly hope you're enjoying these interviews as much as I am. If you are, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. It really helps keep us going. If you feel led to support the show by going to martialartspastandpresent.substack.com, hit about at the top of the page, scroll down to PayPal. Every bit that you can do supports us, whether it's just subscribing, hitting like, sharing, or is going as far as helping to support us financially. It'd be a great thing. So I want to thank you. All right. Back to Jose. Here we go. We only have a couple more questions, then we're done.
No problem.
When students look back years from now, what do you hope they say that they learned from you, both on and off the mat?
I take very pride and I say the same thing every time that this has been asked for me is that Jose or Master Torres cared about me. He identified me. He made me feel whole. He loved me, and I think that that is the most important thing. That's what I want my legacy is that I wasn't the best fighter or the best kicker, and yes, I've won tournaments and I've done all these wonderful things. Those fade, they get dust, they break, right? But our legacy lives on with our love and our emotion and how we touch people. And I think that our maximum impact that we can make is when we touch someone so deep that they believe, that you inspire them to move forward. And that's what I want to do. I still have students that call me now. They're not even my students anymore, but they'll text me. I have some of the young ladies that I've helped go to college. They're married now. They have kids. They have me on their phone as dad number two. And I take a lot of pride in that. That they can text me if they have problems or whatever. I want them to feel that they're loved because it goes back to the same thing with my own kids. I don't want any child to ever feel like they're not loved because I think that's when we lose the kids. Suicide, depression, all of these things. It's just sometimes people, they just need to be talked to. They need a sounding board. They need someone to listen and just to give them a little bit of love. I'm not saying fix their problems, but sometimes we just need a sounding board as human beings. So, my greatest legacy and how I want to be remembered is that I listened, I loved, I loved hard. And everyone that I meet, that I've let that boundary or that defense down is because I gave them love, because it was a little piece of me, whatever it is. I've had some students that talk to me. There's one gentleman, he's part of my school, and he's gone off and off, left for 5 years, came back. He's like a 30-some-year-old man now. He refers to lessons when he was 7 years old. And he was like, I remember Master Torres when you said, and I'm like, man, I feel old now, because sometimes I remember, but it's moments like that one sentence that I said to a boy that was 7 years old that he remembers, and that helped him through whatever, that's how I want to be remembered, is that I cared, and I loved, and I showed every kid that things are possible if you believe in yourself. And you can believe in yourself if you have someone support you and someone that loves you. And I think that's the most important thing. That's what martial arts. It's discipline. It's not just discipline of your body. It's discipline of your mind, discipline of your heart. It's that self-discipline. That's what I think is martial arts.
There's so many people that I've interviewed so far for season one, and now this is season two. They all say the same thing. Self-discipline.
Yep.
Yeah. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
That's a loaded question.
Yes, it is.
Question. Because I could say, I wish this happened different. I wish this, but then I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. Every piece of that puzzle and block led me to talk to you today, and to led me to where I am today. I don't know. I would maybe say just believe in yourself, and just follow. Don't have any self-doubt, because you're going to be pushed in a lot of different ways that nobody tells you about. As men growing up, nobody tells you, hey, man, it's going to be hard. Like there's going to be days that you're going to be, depressed, and you're going to feel like the weight of the world is on you. It's okay. You're going to make it through. I would probably tell myself that, but I don't know if I would change anything. Honestly, I'm very happy where I am. I'm very blessed. I'm alive. I told you I have a family, I have a business. I mean, could I have more students? Could I have this? Could I have that? I mean, we could all say, but those are, physical things, not that emotional investment and the emotional currency, that I feel. I honestly feel, again, I've been very blessed. I hope to continue to be blessed. But I feel very, very blessed and very, happy, happy where I am now. And I'm at a good place with myself, my soul, my emotion. And I don't know if I would change anything. I don't think so. No, not at all.
Yeah, well, you seem to be a really nice guy. I mean, when I talked to you in Atlantic City, and now here, and so on and so forth, I wish you all the best on everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because I really, you seem to be a down to earth, nice guy, and you know what? You don't find that often. You really don't.
Ed, I'm telling you, man, so many things I've been through in my life, man, negative, positive, and naysayers and people that hate it and this and that. And, we all go through that, right? We all go through that, and we kind of move on. But, there's so much, like I said, here I am now talking to you on this amazing, podcast, Martial Arts Past and Present. And, we met, a couple weeks ago, and having this opportunity with you, and, doing the TV show, and then doing the movie. And, I'm an opportunity. I get 7 other projects coming up. There's actually 7 other movies that potentially, and I say potentially, God willing, that are going to transpire over the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, that's amazing, amazing, amazing to be. And we just recently came out on a cover of Deadly Art of Survival magazine. Very, very blessed to be on that. They said it's been a pretty popular cover. They got a lot of good feedback from it. The great photographer, Ryan Cervasio, good friend of mine, and Bold Media did the lighting because I actually had like a real, real picture. I didn't do a selfie. And I think it
Yeah.
came out great on the cover. Yeah, yeah, it came out great. I mean, probably one of the best covers I've ever been on. And I've been on some magazine covers. But again, who am I? Just a young Puerto Rican kid from South Jersey that decided to open up a business and was like, yeah, I think I can do this, and that's where I'm at. And then I had a midlife crisis and said, oh, I'm going to be a movie actor. Let me try that now. We just keep it moving. I don't
That's
know what's
it.
next. Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
That's it. I think they call it entrepreneur.
Yes, yes, yes.
I think that's what they call it. Yeah.
Yeah, not midlife crisis. I say it's midlife crisis. Yeah.
All right. I like to end the interview with something lighthearted. Okay. So
Okay.
give the audience a funny story of something that happened
Martial arts. Okay.
martial arts that happened to you, whether in a tournament or on or off the mat. Something
Okay.
funny.
Okay.
But
Okay.
at least it's at least martialing.
All right. I'll share this. This is actually a movie martial arts story where my martial arts actually helped me with something. So we did a movie called Killer X. I told everybody, told you about.
Hmm.
And one of the bad guys in it was an actor, Muhammad Kisi, also known as Michelle Kisi, who played Tong Po in Kickboxer Van Damme. Very
Hmm.
iconic role. If you're a martial artist, you've seen Kickboxer. At least I hope so. And Muhammad was the bad guy. So Muhammad could only fly in and do, a couple filmings with us. Well, I was fanning, like I was a fanboy. I'm like, oh my God, I get to fight Tong Po in my movie. So we're practicing and Muhammad is really, really intense. So when Muhammad goes in, he's full force. Like there's no stopping. So when we're doing the stunt, right, you got to move. Otherwise, you're going to get popped in the face, right? So here's a crazy thing. We and they might find this funny. I found it very amusing to myself. But so whenever you're doing stunts, right, you have to use rubber. You're using a rubber knife, a rubber machete, rubber, whatever. However, when you shoot, sometimes you use a real weapon, right? Because you need to see the metal, and then they stop it or whatever. So we were rehearsing where it's the kill scene where I'm supposed to kill him, right? And I got to stab him. So I'm hyped up. He's hyped up. Everybody's in it. We're practicing full speed, full power. So they reverted because they didn't catch something with the real blade. So the real blade's on it. I'm supposed to grab it. I pick it up. It's shot, 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 put it down. Shot, 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 put it down. Shot, 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 put it down. We did like 5, 6 takes. So then I had to leave for something to get a drink to come back. And they said, okay, ready? We're going full sports. Muhammad's coming at you. He's swinging. And I got to duck, move out the way, and stab him. I don't look down at the weapon before we start. That wasn't my fault. That wasn't my fault. That was somebody else's fault. So they're like, action. And he comes in. I look, I go, oh my God, it's the real thing, right? So I can't kill Muhammad Kisi on the real thing, right? So I pick it up. And I actually, as I go to stab him, I put my hand on the side of it, right, to block it. So it goes like kind of in his armpit. So the director loses his mind. He's like, God, oh my God, did you almost kill Tong Po? And I'm like, no, I did not kill Tong Po. I'm a martial arts grandmaster and I know how to use weapons, right? I was like, who foolishly left this here? Whole place starts laughing. So the guy that was supposed to pull it out, they start laughing, which is a big no-no, right? It's not supposed to happen. So then I leaned over to Muhammad Kisi. I said, Muhammad, didn't you know it was real? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, I knew it was real, but I didn't say anything. He said, because I wanted to move faster so that I looked better on camera. I go, Muhammad, you're crazy. And he was like, no, I had trust in you. We were good. He goes, I knew you weren't going to kill Muhammad Tongpo Kisi. And I'm like, this guy's crazy. So that's me. I mean, that was a unique story that I found very funny. And
That was a good
I have one
story.
more for you. I have one more for you. I have one more. So
Okay, good. Good.
so we're filming Killer X, and when you fight on film, you're not the same martial arts master, right? So you're not blocking everything. There's different stuff. So one of the choreographers, who was not me at that specific time, changed a combination. So it's like, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I had rehearsed it 1, 2, 3, 4. So they added a fifth in, and for whatever reason, I wasn't aware of this. So I'm supposed to dip. Well, I dipped into the 5, right? There was no punch supposed to be coming. And I see it coming in my face. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to boom, get hit. I have not been punched in my face for probably 30 years, right? So I get punched, start bleeding, they cut the thing, and my older son was on set. So he's the one that's the master. He said, Yo, Hollywood. This is what he tells me, my son. He goes, Yo, Hollywood.
That's what he
I'm
calls
out of
you?
way. What the hell happened? And I go, Ryan. I said, I was in it. He goes, oh, yeah, you're a big movie star. He was like, so you didn't want the shot to be lost. So that serves you right for getting punched in the face. And then everybody on the set started laughing because I literally was like, oh my God. And every martial arts thing, I was like, well, let me sell the shot. Let me take the shot. You know what I mean? Which really you're not supposed to do. And the director got so mad because he was afraid if my lip blowed up, right? If everything happened, that kills the shoot that day. You're done.
Yeah,
You don't
sure.
got to makeup or whatever. Thank God we put ice on it. I have a pretty good face. I didn't bleed or anything, so I was pretty good. But yeah. My son made fun of me. My son said, "Oh yeah, we're no more Grandmaster Torres. We're Hollywood Torres. Well, Hollywood doesn't want to lose the shot." That's what my older son said. Yeah. So sorry for taking
Those
up
are
the
great
time.
stories.
Sorry for taking up the time.
Oh
Yeah.
no, that's okay. That was great stories. I like them.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Um, I picked this up when I saw you in Atlantic City. Let's see if we can see it.
Oh yes, sir. That's
Yes,
my national tournament. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yes. Tell us a little bit about that.
So that is the national event for my martial arts organization, North American Federation of Martial Arts. We're celebrating our 20th year anniversary
Hmm.
for the tournament itself. So this is the 20th year we ran it. It's going to be at the Sheraton Hotel on May 22nd, 23rd. We have different events, forms, weapons, point sparring, breaking. I just got off the phone yesterday. I have international country of Guyana, Trinidad, both of those countries, Trinidad and Tobago, they're going to be coming. And I'm working on some other countries to come as well. So it's a great event, family oriented. We also, I'll drop it on your show, Master William Christopher Ford that I spoke about from Karate Kid 3 and Cobra Kai. He plays Dennis de Guzman. He's going to be one of our special guests for the 20-year anniversary. He's kind of a fan favorite at NAFMA. He came a couple years back, and we're bringing him back to celebrate our 20-year anniversary with us.
Excellent. Yeah, it looks like it's May 22nd and 23rd, Atlantic City Sheraton Hotel of this year, 2026.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's coming up 2 months.
3 months. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we're in March now. It's 2 months.
God, my God. Crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we'll get this interview out in plenty of time, so this way people will see this.
Awesome. Thank you,
Um,
Ed.
Jose, I want to thank you. But
Thank you.
before we end this, if people want to know more about you, or have you, or get in touch with you, find more out about you, have you written any papers, books, or anything? Please tell us about it.
Yeah. So actually, I think I had mentioned I'm being featured on the cover of Deadly Art of Survival, a publication run by Nathan Ingram. They did a wonderful feature for me as I was one of the feature covers for issue 24. That's out now. I am working on a book. It's not obviously released yet, but we are working on a book to kind of segue into this crazy life that's happened over the last 25 years of where we are. So hopefully it has a really good ending that our TV show is picked up by Netflix. We'll see. But yeah,
Yeah.
those are kind of the things that I'm working on at this point. And like I said, we have some other films that we have in the work that we're going to be working on. We have a really cool project called Rise of the Dragon. I'm going to be working with Cynthia Rothrock and Ron Van Cleef on, as well as William Christopher Ford. Very excited for that. And if anybody wants to find me or follow me, I'm on Facebook. You can look me under my direct name, Jose Luis Torres II. You can follow the Federation, North American Federation of Martial Arts, or City of Honor. That's on there as well on Facebook. All of those three platforms are also on Instagram as well. So please follow us. And we also do have a YouTube channel called Martial Arts Experience, and that's with an X. And you'll see some of our past podcasts and some promo videos and things on that as well. So a couple different ways they can reach me. So again, and I'm always pretty active. I always reach back. It's not someone else, so it's definitely me. So I apologize if it takes me a little bit. If somebody does message me and I don't message them right away, but it'll definitely be we'll definitely respond.
Sounds really good. Jose, it's been a pleasure. Thank you
Thank you, Ed.
so much for allowing me to interview you today. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. My pleasure.
Would you consider coming back in the future?
1000%. Whenever. Let me know.
All right.
Love it.
That sounds great. Looking forward to it. And again, thank you very much. And to the audience, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, hit subscribe, like, get it all out there. All right. The more you get that out there, the more we can do. Thank you. And thank you, Jose.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you so much.
Make sure you look into Super Patch. It's great for boosting immunity, athletic performance, pain reduction, and much more. Visit mapap.superpatch.com to learn more. Thank you for joining us today. To learn more about us, visit our Substack at martialartspastandpresent.com. If you would like to support us, go to patreon.com/martialartspastandpresent. If you like the content and have not yet subscribed, you can find us on all of the major platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube.